Hi, welcome to this video on tips on tuning Spark application. So far, we have learned a lot about Spark Core. This is going to be the final leg into the course. And I would like to congratulate you first for making so far and sticking to the course. In this video and the coming few videos, we are going to explore some of the tips you should be aware of, some of the ideas or strategies, or you can call them methodologies you should know when you are going to run your Spark application, a Spark application in production. Let's try to start with the first part, which is how should you choose the size of your executors. In this video, we are going to talk about how can you set configurations, how does a Spark memory model look like. We will also talk about some of the guidelines on how to choose the number of executors, the executor cores, and memory of the executor. Let's get it started. The very first thing is, in order to set configurations in a Spark application, there are varieties of ways. One way is to set up in the Spark default configuration, which applies to all the configurations using the Spark installed. The other way is to pass it through command line when you run a Spark shell or a Spark submit. And you can also set configurations inside your applications. Inside your application, the moment you generate your Spark context, you need to have a Spark configuration object beforehand. So we create a Spark configuration object and you set the key and the value, where key is the name of your configuration and the value represents what is the value of that configuration which you would like to use in your application. So here in this example, before creating a Spark context, we are creating the Spark configuration object, and we are setting like how many times a task can fail before failing the whole application. Remember, a task can fail some number of times. The default comes to be 4. And if a task fails more than that threshold, the whole application fails. So if there is some kind of temporary or intermittent failures of a task, the application does not fail. The task is re-triggered or relaunched on the same or a different machine. Similarly, there is a speculative execution in a Spark, which means if a task is running slow, would you like to run a duplicate copy of the task, and whichever task completes first, you take the result from there. It's a good optimization. So the speculation is also enabled by default, and you can choose a different value. So these are two examples of how you can set a different value of the configuration. Coming to Spark submit, when you launch your application, you can provide --conf, provide the key is equal to value, and you can pass it multiple times if you have multiple configurations to pass. This is one way. These are the two ways to pass configurations in a Spark application. Some of the configurations should be passed through Spark submit. For example, if you are passing driver extra arguments or executors extra arguments, they have to be attached to the Spark application before the JVM starts, before the application actually starts. But these are the two prominent ways you will be observing Spark configurations taking place. The next is, let's talk about Spark memory model. Spark memory model has kind of become more evolved with period of time, and it's unified. I'll talk about what does unified mean. But before we go into being unified, there is executor. Every executor has got some amount of memory which you can specify through the default configurations or by passing the configuration at runtime. We have seen some examples how to pass configuration. Inside an executor, and again, on one machine, there can be one or more than one executors, depends on how much capacity in terms of resources and CPU that machine has. Well, let's talk about one executor container. Inside one executor container, we specify the executor memory, which internally refers to the configuration spark.executor.memory. In a Spark submit, you can pass --executor memory. We will shortly see that. So you can specify how much memory each executor container can have. The memory which you specify to the executor is used in two parts. One part is used to contain the data corresponding to shuffle, and one part is shuffle or other intermediate output, and the other part is used to store the data, user defined data. When you say I want to cache an RDD, then it has to use the RAM allocated to the executor. Now, Spark memory model is unified. The memory which you specify is shared by the shuffle data, that is the intermediate output, plus any user specified data. If and it's not kind of, there is no fixed boundary like this percent will be used by the internal shuffle data and this much percent will be used for the user defined data. If one portion is less used, the other portion can take the memory not used by the second portion. Apart from this, when you specify I want 4 gigabytes of executor in terms of RAM, you don't get 4 gigabytes of executor. Talking about Yarn Cluster Manager, which is perhaps perhaps what you will see in your project, because it is the most popular cluster manager till date. So what Yarn does is, by default, it adds a 7% of overhead, which simply means if you are requesting for 4 GB of RAM, you get 4 GB plus 7% overhead, which roughly becomes 4.3 GB of data. Again, the internal logic looks like this. There is a minimum amount of overhead added, which is 384 megabytes. So the calculation looks like this. You have the maximum of 384 MB or 7% of the requested memory. And which simply means if you request for say 10 GB of memory, then you will get 10 GB plus 7% of 10 GB, which is approximately 700 MB. This is what you will get. If you are requesting for 4 GB of memory, then you will get 4 GB plus 7% becomes like 280 MB, but you get like maximum of 384 or 7%. So you essentially get some amount of overhead than you request. You can explicitly set like what is the overhead you would like to have, but there is some kind of overhead attached to executor. And in Yarn, every node has node manager running. Every worker node has that, and that node manager has a configuration. This is governed by yarn site.xml, which refers to yarn.nodemanager.resource memory MB, which controls what is the total amount or the maximum amount of the sum of the memory used by all the containers in that node. So if your machine can have say 10 GB of RAM, but node manager can control only 8 GB of RAM, for example, then the number of executors you or the number of containers you can run on that machine should not exceed more than 8 GB. So you have a distinction. All the memory of the machine is not going to be used by Spark or by Yarn. You can control how much amount of memory has to be reserved for the operating system processes and how much memory is going to be used or controlled by Yarn node manager. Let's get ahead and talk about the important point of this video, which is what has to be the starting point of the number of executors or the size of executors. So before we go into it, let me try to recap. Whenever you call an action on Spark RDD, there is a Spark job triggered. One Spark job can have multiple stages, and each stage is decomposed into different tasks. Each task by default, it takes one partition of the RDD. It operates on one partition. So the more number of tasks you have, the better parallelism you can achieve. And the number of tasks which can run inside an executor is governed by executor cores. So we have essentially 3 important configurations to control: the number of executors, how many executors do we need, what has to be the cores, the executor cores, which means how many tasks can run in a multi-threaded manner inside one executor. That is decided by executor cores. And then executor memory, which means how much amount of RAM do we want to give to our executor, again without any overhead, which Yarn introduces. We have to take care of below points. The executor cores decides the number of tasks which can run in that executor in parallel. And let's get us started with one sample. Oh, sorry, before we go into sample, let's talk about a few more points. For better HDFS throughput, so if you are talking to HDFS to write the content of RDD, or maybe you are talking to some other file system, for HDFS, it is recommended to use 4 to 5 executor cores, which simply means inside one executor, you should run 4 to 5 tasks. Then if you try to use a thin executor, which means an executor which has lesser number of tasks running inside it and a lesser amount of memory allocated to it, then it will not be able to use the caching, and your performance can be suboptimal, or you can say the resources will be underutilized. On the other hand, if you choose a very fat executor, which means one executor having all the memory allocated to it, maybe all the memory of the machine, and you try to run multiple tasks in parallel, you will be benefited from the caching, because the way it happens is each executor has its own cache which all the tasks share. So the caching benefit will be there, but the problem is your write throughput can be suboptimal. So as the recommendation, HDFS throughput, for better HDFS throughput, you should use 4 to 5 executor cores. So you can face poor throughput if you try to launch multiple tasks inside a big executor. So we have to find some kind of balance between it. When I say what a fat executor and thin executor, what do I mean? Let's say you have a machine which has got 16 GB of RAM. And this is the 16 GB of RAM controlled by Yarn Node Manager. What you can do is you can give all the 16 GB of RAM to run only one Spark executor on that machine. And that executor can run, say, 8 executor tasks or 8 executor cores. That is one option. The other option is, what about giving 1 GB of memory to each executor? In that sense, you end up having 16 executors, and each executor will have one task allocated to it. So this is the example of thin executor, where you use a very lightweight executor in terms of resources and the number of tasks running inside it. And the other example where we were running 8 tasks in that executor is a fat executor. Well, the number of cores available on the machine is also one of the important factor, and what is the total amount of RAM allocated to the node manager is also one factor. We will talk about it. Also remember, Spark application in Yarn requires an application master. Every application has an application master, like MapReduce, Days, and so on. This application master will also need some CPU cores and some RAM. At least one CPU core you have to think, or you have to allocate for the application master. Let's talk about the sample now. Let's say we have a cluster of 6 machines, and each machine has got 16 CPU cores and 64 GB of RAM. Now, what we have to think is, leave out some CPU cores and some RAM for the operating system related processes. So let's say we have left out 1 CPU core and 1 GB of RAM for the operating system processes. Now, on each machine, we are having 15 cores and 63 GB of RAM to be used by our Spark application. Or you can say this is the amount of memory which Node Manager can allocate to your executors. And as a recommendation, we have to use something like 4 to 5 tasks per executor. Let's start to think about 5 tasks per executor, that we choose the executor cores to be 5. Now we can run 3 executors on a machine. Well, how does this calculation work? It's all because if you run 5 tasks on each executor and you would like to give 1 CPU core to each executor, every one CPU core to each task, then each executor will require 5 CPU cores because there are 5 tasks inside one executor. And each machine has got 15 CPU cores, so you can run 3 executors. So that's the way it works. Again, it's not mandatory to give one core to one task. Different tasks inside an executor can share the same CPU core. If your application is not CPU bound, you will see benefits in this direction. But let's talk about one task requiring one CPU core. So that's our first result. Like, we will be using 5 executor cores in this context. Now let's talk about next. We have a total of 18 executors which can be used. It's all because we are having 6 machines and each machine can run 3 executors. So we have 6 into 3, which is 18 executors. So we can request for 17 executors. Why is that? Because we will leave out one CPU core and some amount of RAM for the application master as well. And application master is not counted as one of the executors, so we have to leave out some resource for that. So the number of executor becomes 18 minus 1, which is 17. And since we have 63 GB of RAM on each machine, and each machine has 3 executors running on it, so it simply means we have one executor consuming 21 GB of memory. So don't request 21 GB of memory, because when you try to request 21 GB of memory and Yarn is going to add by default 7% overhead, the request will end up being more than 22 GB of RAM. So if you want to divide 63 GB of RAM evenly across executors, like 3 executors, then each executor you have to request for a bit more than 19 GB. The exact number is around 19.5 GB. It simply works on the formula, like you request for 19.5 GB plus you add 7% overhead. So you simply multiply this by 1.07 and your value should be close to 21 gigabytes. And this is what you will get when you request 19.5 approximate value. So I think this must have helped you understand how can you request the number of executor cores, the number of executors, and how much memory each executor will have. This is a very simplified version. The actual situation has to consider few more things. And let's talk about what are those few more things. The first thing is the amount of memory which is required. Many a times, if data is not skewed, depends heavily on what kind of data volume you are processing. And many a times it turns out that you have to think on how much memory is needed per task. The first thing is, you cannot have different executors with different configuration. When you specify, like, I want executor of 10 GB of memory, then if you are requesting 50 executors, all those 50 executors will have the same setting for the memory. In a single application, you cannot have some executors with one set of memory configuration and some executors with other set of memory configuration. And many a times it happens that the amount of memory you have given to an executor is less meaningful. You can add more meaning by attaching the information, like how many tasks you are going to require. So when you say, I want one executor with 8 GB of RAM and 4 tasks to be running in the executor, which means executor cores, it simply means you are allocating up 2 GB of memory per task. Again, each task can have their own requirements, because some tasks can be skewed. They are processing more amount of data and than the other tasks. But in a balanced situation, this is how it actually boils down. So you have to, first of all, think how many tasks are running. Try to run up an application and try to see how many tasks are running. So from the UI, you will get this information about the number of tasks. And remember, the more number of tasks you can run in parallel, you will be able to see benefits or less time taken in the actual computation, in the actual execution of the Spark job. And this all depends on how much volume of data you are processing, and what kind of operations you are doing. The next thing to talk about here is your requested memory. The executor memory should also be a close multiple to the number of the total memory a machine has. Let's say I have got one machine, and this is one of the machine in the cluster, and this has got 22 GB of RAM. One option is, let's say I want to run 4 executor cores, and I would like to give 8 GB of memory, which simply means I'm giving 2 GB of memory per task. Now, if you divide 22 GB by 8, you will understand that you will get 2 executors. And after you get 2 executors, there is 6 GB of memory left on the machine. Now, this 6 GB of memory cannot be used. You are running a total of 2 executors, which means you are running a total of 8 tasks. Remember, we are specifying 4 executor cores. So you are running total 8 tasks and 6 GB is underutilized. Instead of running this, if you want to give like 2 GB of memory per task, and you would like to better use this machine, why not give 11 GB of memory, again, including the overhead, 11 GB of memory, and use 5 tasks. In this way, you will be able to run 2 executors on this machine and a total of 10 tasks, which is better than running 8 tasks on the machine and 6 GB of memory being not utilized. So the total amount of memory on the machine should also be one of the deciding factor when choosing how much memory you would like to allocate to the executors. Just see the wastage is minimized or the underutilization of memory is minimized. Also, let's talk about a few more things over here before we get ahead. How do you know how much amount of memory is needed for the executor? It is a better practice to have some kind of monitoring on top of your Spark application. You can use some databases, time series databases like Prometheus or Graphite, and then is a support for Ganglia metric collection as well in Spark. So you try to monitor and get an idea like how much JVM memory was allocated to the Spark application and how much was actually used. So maybe you allocated 8 GB of memory to your executor and you were running 4 executor cores, and out of this 8 GB, only 2 GB was used. This will give you an idea that you are over allocating your executors. It simply means to run these 4 executor cores, you don't need 8 GB of memory. Then you can give an executor 2 GB of memory or a little more than that, like 3 GB, just to handle any temporary fluctuation in the data volume. So try to limit the amount of memory you are giving. Try to see if your machines are making proper use of the memory you have allocated. That is one thing which you have to figure it out. Again, there is no kind of a mathematical formula, a straight formula for that. This is something you will have to try. Go on UI, check how many tasks are running, how many tasks you have supported to run. Just multiply the number of executors with the executor cores, and that will give you the number of tasks which can run in parallel. See if your tasks are getting backlogged. Are there tasks which are not triggered because of insufficient resources? Try to increase the parallelism. Again, try to capture the metrics of your Spark application to see how much percentage or how much fraction of the memory was actually used, and then retune your Spark executor memory or executor cores or number of executors accordingly. So you will have to try it a bit before you hit that sweet spot. Let's get ahead and talk things which we have overlooked and some other points. We have, in this discussion so far, we have given one complete executor resource like 5 executor cores and 19 GB of RAM in this discussion to the application master. In many a situation, For application master, one CPU core and 1 GB of RAM is enough. So your calculation has to change accordingly. Don't give a very huge amount of, don't kind of estimate extremely huge amount of resource for the application master. Again, if the job is not CPU intensive, you don't need to give one CPU core to one task. It may happen that you give only one CPU core to one executor, and that executor runs 4 tasks, and all those 4 tasks make use of a single CPU core. So a single CPU core is shared by all the tasks. This can happen if you, and this is kind of preferred if your tasks are not CPU bound. Also, this will help you decide what kind of machine do you need. Many a times, if you talk about cloud machines, R series or R4, R5 series, which are memory optimized, is much better suited for Spark applications. In most of the data engineering processing, Spark applications require more of memory than of CPU, unless you are doing anything which is compute intensive, like in a deep learning, making use of deep learning libraries. But you know how to make a calculation in that direction. You should monitor the performance of your Spark application. And the last thing is, which we talked, the amount of memory which you request for an executor should kind of get into a multiple basically, let me put it this way: the amount of memory which the node manager manages should be a multiple of the memory requested by the executor. When I say memory requested by executor, it means the memory which you have asked for plus any overhead altogether. So this is, we have talked about that example as well. In the next video, we will continue our discussion on tuning Spark applications, and we will talk about dynamic allocation, which can make your life a bit easier. You don't have to specify number of executors, and Spark will intelligently decide based on certain configurations how many executors to run. So that was all from this video. Thanks a lot for watching this. And if you have any questions, do let me know.